to We Do the Heavy Lifting, and I am your host, Dr. Jenny Yentis. And today we are going to talk about youth sports and what youth sports can do for our communities and how it inspires our kids that live around us. You may think we talk always a lot about sports medicine or human performance, but our children really are the core of what we're doing in our communities, and how do we get them inspired to participate in sports, and what does that do for them? And our guest today to talk to us about this, I'm really excited, is Roderick World Harris Jr.
Yes, that's me.
That's you.
That's me.
I wanted to make sure I got all.
You got to get it all. You got to get it all.
So, Roderick, you're currently leading the Brazos Valley Youth Sports Association.
Yes.
And you're coaching and developing young athletes to become better players, have better character.
Mm-hmm.
You're former athletics director at our Boys and Girls Club here, local one.
Yep.
And you've had an incredible career.
Yeah.
I did look you up before we started this. I learned a lot of interesting things. I'm hoping we're going to get into that because you've got a great history.
Thank you.
So could you just start off by telling us a little bit about how you got into playing football and then how that sort of led to you coaching?
God, first and foremost.
All right.
I think athletics in general has been a part of my life since I can remember. Really walking and talking. There's either been a football, a basketball, baseball. My mother's brothers, they all play baseball. My grandmother and them, they play baseball. So it was a lot of baseball talk in the house early on. And then my dad is a football player. He went here at Texas A&M. He played football here in the Jackie Sherrill era. So for me, athletics is life.
Okay.
It's the foundation it's the vehicle that allowed me to experience just the world.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think my dad always told me, I'm not paying for your college at an early age.
I got you.
There's many opportunities for you, whether academically, athletically, and you're going to be a gifted kid early on. You poured that into us. You're going to be gifted. And so once I realized that, with my arms, my eyes, my legs, my feet, I could get away from Bryan College Station for at least 4 years.
Yeah, that's true.
I can go anywhere in the world.
Yep.
Once I started to realize those things, athletics became, I'm going to get out of here through that. And that allowed me to do so much more. And so I just want to, get parents and kids to understand that it doesn't have to be what you do, because it's still a small part of my life. Athletics is only a 10th of who I am.
Okay.
Right? It's only a 10th, but it's that bottom 10th, it's that first block.
Yeah.
Right? Outside of God. It's
Yep.
that first, that second block, right? And so for me, I was able to build on top of that.
Yeah.
And I want to show kids that they can do the same. And it's going to take commitment in life, and whatever you do, you're going to have to work at it. You're going to have to practice. You're going to have to show up. You got to be consistent. And at the end of the day, a lot of people forget we can get these jobs and we can get into these positions, but you got to perform.
Yes.
And performance in whatever you do, you got to perform as a husband, you got to perform as a wife, you got to perform as a child, a teacher, a professor, a doctor. When it comes down to it in life, you have to be ready to perform. When the lights are on and it's time to go, you got to be able to perform in your craft, and that's what athletics gives you. At a high,
absolutely,
level. So I don't want to go on or cut anybody off.
No, you're fine. Yeah. I was just thinking as you were speaking about resiliency and how a lot of, I mean, I'm a professor, so I deal a lot with college age students, right? 18 to 22, 23 years old. And sometimes resiliency is something that's very tough.
Yeah.
Especially for, I don't want to say current generation, because I think every generation has had to be resilient. But I really notice it as I'm getting older and they're staying the same age, that it's really hard to instill that, and it's really hard to teach resiliency. And I always think of the student athletes I work with.
You got to fight through it.
They're usually some of the most resilient individuals.
You got to fight through it.
Yeah.
If you want, and everybody gets caught up in the real world or this world. If you want to survive and be someone to make a living, to provide for you, your family, you're going to have to fight through the days you don't feel like it. I don't care what anybody says. There's going to be a day you're the number one whatever. Every 5-star kid, from Tom Brady to the best sports analyst in the world, Chad Ocho or Shannon Sharp, whoever it is in this world, Dion, there's going to be a day that I feel like I don't want to do this. I don't want to be Coach Prime today. And he's Coach Prime because I got up, I put my shades on.
Yep.
One toe and all, fall through it. That's what makes you who you're going to be. And you got to have people in your doctor, professor. There's days that I don't want to go deal with these 22-year-olds today.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That is 100% okay.
I'm glad you said that, because there are days I feel like that.
Yeah, and that's okay. And to say it out loud is like, whew, there are days I feel like that. But one thing I know that you haven't done, you didn't quit on them.
No.
And that's why you're a doctor. You didn't quit on them.
Yeah.
And, and so you don't become the doctor because I quit on the 22-year-olds that I don't feel like dealing with today. Yeah. I strapped up my boots, and I'm going to give you this information. Yeah. And I'm going to be resilient. And that's what you did. So, I'm loving this conversation right now because I'm getting inspired and I'm like, yeah. So I hope our listeners are doing the same way. So when was there this shift? When did you realize that your focus was going to be inspiring individuals and inspiring these kids and getting them, like, you were a player, you had coaches. Do you remember, was there a pivotal point? When I couldn't play anymore.
Okay.
So I tore my ACL at the University of Kansas, and I still had love for the game when I was there. But then we had like coaching changes, and there was all these different things that I couldn't control. Yeah. And so I got into a real dark spot, and I was looking for something. Looking for something. And I signed up for this group called Thrive. Yeah. It was basically it was a mentor group for young at-risk kids who all the kids in this group suffered from violent crimes. Okay. So their parents, violent crimes. Every kid, group 20, 30 kids, all of them violent crimes, high-risk kids. But they were some of the most amazing kids that you could ever, And so who am I to be in a dark spot about my knee? This kid doesn't have a parent. This kid doesn't have a father. This kid has been physically, so I started to, who am I? Yeah. These kids still need it. Here I am. I still got my scholarship. I still get to show up. I still get to go to the bowl game. I still get a bowl ring. I don't get to play. I'm the fourth string receiver now, but hey, I get to host and go on a party with the first string receiver, and I get the new guys to come commit to the school. I still got a chance at life. This kid, it's hard for this kid, and this kid's 10. Yeah. This kid's 11. This kid's 13 years old and is trying to figure out grown-up decisions of how can my mom's incompetent. So I got to pay the bills. I got to get my mom's SSI check. And I got to break it down for me and my sisters, and I'm 13, but I got to get her on the bus, and I can't open the door when no one's here. That's really going on in the world. And so once I realized I got to save one. Each one teach one. I got to save one. I got to get a kid to experience what I experienced. I got to get a kid to get out to get out of their environment. And the way you do that, I need to figure, what do you love? Is it music? Is it art? Is it dance? Is it science? Is it social studies? Whatever it is you love, we got to figure out how to put you around all the resources you need and engulf you in that environment so that you can become a product of your environment. That's the only way. That's the only way. And so once I realized that, I do music, I act, I'm a father, I'm a brother, and my whole goal is to try to put other people in the environment that they desire. Like, if you want to be an actor, it's not that you have to move to LA, but you better go find, if you're going to be in Bryan College Station and be an actor, you better go to the theater and be around people in theater right?
Yeah.
You got to go hang out at the coffee shops where the playwriters are hanging out. You better go find Miss Nikki Peterson. You better go get around theater people. If you want to be in agriculture, you better go find the biggest university and go be a part of agriculture.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it, is to be around what you want to be around.
Yeah.
So if you want to be a coach, then you should probably go pop up at every high school game, every college. Can I be a GA?
Yeah.
Can I sign up? How can I be a coach? You better study. You better you better hang out where the coaches hang. So you just got to put everyone in their environment. And I decided that I wanted to figure out how to get kids to use their athletic ability. You know, they might not have money. They might not have, but you got 10 fingers.
Yep.
10 toes. You can run, you can jump. You got a mind, you can think. I can probably get you somewhere for free. It might not be Texas A&M. It could be Sam Houston.
Yeah.
You know, it could be Tarleton State. It's 4 years, free. So that's my mindset on athletics. And that's volleyball, football, soccer, track. Yeah. There's a whole lot of sports.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah, and I appreciate that mindset. I mean, I, as a first-generation college student, I had no information of how to go to school or anything, and I went to community college for 2 years.
Yeah.
And my guidance counselor in high school helped me get a scholarship to go, and I think that really started me down a path. And so if that person wouldn't have been there, there's no one around me that knew what that was. And there's so many kids out there like that. Yeah. I really appreciate what you're doing, because we need more people like you in the world.
And there's a lot of people. What I'm learning too is there are people, and as the world goes, I have faith in it. Yeah. That there are people in this world and they're working. There's some people that I've met in this community that, you know, they don't have social media and they're not on Facebook and they're not on Instagram and they're not taking pictures, but they are working. Yep. You know, they are 100% committed to the fight, the good cause, and they're being martyrs for what they believe in. And so I think it's going to be a beautiful thing as we continue to grow in this world.
I hope so as well. I hope so as well.
It's going to get ugly first, but it's going to be okay.
It always does, doesn't it? It always it ebbs and flows, right? Yeah. What's something that you always hope to leave your young athletes with that you learned was necessary for yourself to persevere, to perform at a high level? Is there like a key piece that you try to instill in each one of your athletes other than just the, you know, how do you develop that desire to perform?
They gotta know who they are. Okay. So before you can teach a kid anything else, the kid has to find themselves. You know, and so you can't even really be hard on a kid per se. You just gotta kind of you gotta give a kid all the opportunities to make mistakes. Does that make sense?
It makes absolute sense. Failure is the only way to move forward.
It's the only way. So if I'm coaching a kid, I got to see what they know. You got to see what they know. You can't go pushing. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, let me get you right. Let me see your lunges. Let me evaluate the kid first. And let's see all the things that they know and what they don't know. And you have everybody loves to show off their strengths. Yes. That's true. We can talk about my weaknesses way more than we can talk about my strengths. But nobody wants to talk about it. And so when you develop a kid, that's what you got to find. Yeah. What are they weak at? Because then you're not developing anything. If it's already strong, what are you developing? Yeah,
it's a fair point. And I think what makes it even harder is at least the current generation is so afraid to show those weaknesses because when they go onto social media, all they see are the good of everybody else. Yeah. And so I know that with my college students, they don't want to fail. They're afraid of it. But I try to instill it.
That's when you got to learn how to lose. Yep. Right? You got to learn. I go to high school games and you see kids that lose. They're throwing helmets. Their kid never learned how to lose. Never learn how to keep your head up, chest out, unbuckle your chin straps, put your hand out, good game.
Mm-hmm.
And then learning how to lose is going back to the drawing board and studying my mistakes. Every student athlete that gets to the next level, you get graded out on your performance.
Mm-hmm.
Volleyball game, soccer game, and you go watch film. And you don't just watch the good plays.
Mm-hmm.
You got a minus on this play. You got a minus on this play.
Mm-hmm.
You got a plus, you got a minus, you got a plus, 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 minus, 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 minus. Why did you get a minus here?
Yeah.
Why did you get a minus here? That's when you learn.
So true.
That's the only way you learn.
Yeah.
Like when you're taking a test, you know the answers you're going to get right. You know the answer you're going to get right. You know, I knew that one.
Yep.
But the one you didn't know, it's like, right? You're like, oh my God. And then you got it wrong, and then you didn't even go back because you know it's going to be on the final. The teacher for sure knew, man, 30% of my students got that answer wrong. I'm putting that.
I'm putting it back on the test.
I'm putting it back on the final. I'm putting it back on the final.
Yep.
And you didn't even go back to the corrections and look and say, why did I get this wrong?
Yeah.
He was like, whew, that test is over. I ain't got to worry about that again. And here you are. Here comes final exam. And every question you got wrong is on the final.
Yeah.
Did you learn from your mistake or not? That's graduating. That's passing the course. It's not a trick question.
I'm going to take that snippet and I'm going to play it in my classes. I'm going to like, listen to this very wise man.
I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
And that's what life is. And you got to let kids know that.
Yeah.
You know, you got so many kids in youth sports, you see it. The kids lose, and it's always, oh, the referee cheated, and nobody ever goes back and watches. I love the parents who record the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite parents are the parents who record the whole game of their kids, and then they go and watch and say, hey, look, I love this layup you made.
Yeah.
But, man, you did not play defense right here. Why are you crossing your feet? You should be shuffling. Why are your heels clicking?
Yeah.
Right? I love those parents, the parents that get the report card and they say, oh, man, great A. They don't say, oh, my baby got a 65. I'm gonna go, I'm mad at the teacher. No, they say, let's take a look at you're struggling in science. I see you're really good at reading, you're really good at writing. So clearly you can read and you can write. So if you can read and you can write, we can apply that to science. Let's figure out let's work on the weakness.
Yeah.
Right?
So my question for you then is, when you were working with the group Thrive, and a lot of kids you were mentioning maybe don't have a parent, don't have that support system at home. What are the programs, or for our community listeners, how could they then work with those children? What are ways and avenues in which the community can support those individuals when they don't have that at home?
One, you got to know, and we use that a lot. And in order to know, you have to be available. And I'm not going to say you assume anything, but you have to be aware.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as a, and it's not prying but as a leader in your community, you have to be aware. And if you're paying attention to a kid and what's going on, they might have been wearing the same shoes for 3 weeks straight.
Yeah.
Same clothes. Been having the same backpack for 2-3 years. And you notice you've been around this kid. You should eventually say something.
Yeah.
Or you should eventually just do.
Just give them a new backpack.
Just do.
Yeah.
Really, for me, the anonymous giver is the best giver.
Mm-hmm.
The people who are really paying attention in their community. Like when you're really paying attention to your community, you know. It's called discernment. It's called God. It's called loving people. It's called caring. You don't have to. It's like that side of our community is struggling right now. We know that. How can we fix it? What do they need? Yeah. There's numbers, there's stats. You find your local community, go down to your, city council members, tap in with your city council members, tap in with your school board leaders and say, hey, we're having a problem in our community. Be aware. Yeah. Speak up. Go to the people that are in position to fix the problem and just make sure that, hey, wasn't sure. There's a guy in our community. I won't say his name. He doesn't like his name, but he went down to the track. His daughter runs track. My son runs track. He noticed the cracks in the track. He just wrote it down and said, man, I'm going to say something about the cracks in the track. And they're coming to fix the cracks in the track because a parent, he didn't complain. He just said, hey, my daughter, the students, they've been working real hard all summer. I want to take a look at these. Here's some pictures.
Yeah.
Is there anything that we can do about this? You don't have to go down and curse anybody out. You just take your evidence and get it to the right people. And that's what the community is about. In a community, there's resources, and that's what BVYSA is. That's what Brazos, that's what the Boys and Girls Club is. That's what the school district is a resource. That's what BV CASA is. That's what all these places are. If you truly are willing to make a change, there is a place. That's what the workforce is. It's a resource.
Yeah.
And you just got to really want to make a change. And once you really want to make a change, then God has already put in place the resources for you. You just got to get there. And you have to not be afraid to be vulnerable and learn from your mistakes. And then once you do that, you can grow. I've made a lot of mistakes. I am not perfect. I am not by far Jesus or any of those things. Don't even compare. I've done some things in my past, and I got here because of my mistakes. Because I was like, oh, that hurt.
Yeah.
That one hurt. To lose that friend hurt, right? To not be available or be prepared, because the worst thing you can do is not be prepared for a blessing that you knew was coming. You knew it was coming. You knew that day was coming. You knew it was coming.
Yeah.
And you didn't get prepared for it.
Yeah.
No, what we have to do is every day when we don't feel like it, continue to prepare, continue to put ourselves in an environment, reach out to our resources, and then pass it down. If you figure out a way, pass it down. So.
And it takes people, how do I say this? Actually opening their eyes and being willing to contribute to their community. There's so many people that are willing to complain about their community, complain about the things that are wrong. So
that's the easiest thing to do.
It is. It's hard work to sacrifice your time, sacrifice your knowledge, your willingness to go and volunteer or work in these areas. Yeah.
It's like, for me, you got to give something up. And I've lived in Miami, California, Las Vegas. I've enjoyed my life. I've been a college student when there wasn't social media. And it was amazing. I went to the University of Kansas, national championships, Orange Bowls. We had the best time of our life, every sport.
Yeah.
And I learned from all of those things. And I'm so thankful for who I am now, because now I know that I needed somebody then. I still need someone now, and I'll forever need someone.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be people that need me. And so as my duty as a human being, if you're going to consider yourself humane, it's to love others, man.
It's really simple.
I don't care.
Hard to do.
It's real simple. And you can complain all day.
Yeah.
That ain't going to do anything. So you might as well strap your boots up and let's figure this thing out.
Yeah.
Let's figure this thing out. And I always, like, my kids know, it's thank God on 3. 1, 2, 3, thank God. Yeah. Win, lose, or draw. And that's me. I'm not pushing a religion on anybody. No. You don't sign your kids up to me, and I'm not trying to make them go to church on Wednesdays and Sundays. I'm not doing any of those things, but I will tell you, when you come to Coach Ghost, which is God's Human Outlaws Serving Together. It's an acronym. When you come to Coach Ghost, that's what's coming first.
Yeah.
God is coming first, and then everything else I'm going to give them is coming after.
Spirituality and faith, however people define it, it's something that humans really tend, most humans are drawn towards that. And they need that.
How else did we get here?
That's another podcast.
That's another podcast, which is a beautiful thing. But it's a competitive nature even in that.
Yeah.
For us to be here is competitive, and it starts with survival of the fittest and being a blessing and being who you are and being submitted in what you're here to do, and that's just to serve your purpose. And I think our purpose is to enlighten the ones coming.
Yeah.
And I just choose to do that through sports and athletics and music.
And we thank you for that.
You know?
Yeah. I do have another question for you, and I realize no, you don't have to apologize at all. What are some of the things, we've kind of talked about it, but I'm hoping for our listeners, you can really maybe give 3 things that you are really teaching on the field that improve character off the field. So for young coaches, people that desire to be in the position that you're in, what are 3 things that you think that you're doing on the field that play out outside of that to really develop these children?
Man, one of the first things that comes to mind is just the discipline, right? When you put a kid in sports, in order for them to be good, they have to be disciplined. And I say that every parent that's ever brought their kid to me, they can tell you the thing that I care about the most is when we're in warm-ups, I don't want a foot on my line. One of my biggest things is because the line and where you are on that line is going to determine the scholarship you're going to get and the one they're going to give you. And it's a big difference. Everybody, the one that you want, right?
Yeah.
Is going to, if those kids who show up and they're always stepping over their line, if the route is 16 yards and you're always running at 13, the quarterback has to go through steps.
Yeah.
He has to go through his progression. So if I play receiver and you're constantly not getting to your depth, so I'm going to teach you how to get to your depth on the field. And then once we're off the field, you're going to understand. In class, you have to do the same thing. In life, you have to do the same thing. If the teacher says that I want everybody's first and last name on every assignment, it's mandatory.
Yeah.
It's mandatory. I want first and last name and student ID. And you go through and you get every answer right. But you didn't put your first and last name and student ID, and she put an F and she circled it. And you go home and you yell to your parents and you didn't do what she asked.
Yep.
It was great. You're the only person that got every question right. But I can't let you make it.
Yeah.
Because you didn't do it right. Whose test is this? I don't know.
Yeah.
Right? How do I know this is you?
Yeah.
Because you didn't follow instructions. And so that's what, to me, a lot of the times as youth coaches, we take the best player, right? We all get that really good player that never wants to follow directions. Every coach has had one. I don't care who you are. Yep. Really, I've been that player. Miss Rhonda's probably like, yeah, if she ever hears this, she's like, you're that player.
Yep.
You got to do it right, though.
Yeah.
Or you'll find yourself 4th string on the depth chart, feeling like I'm the best kid on the roster. Yeah. But really, in all actuality, the guy that's number 1, he does it right.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things that we teach. And then the other thing is the next play. That's a big one, right? And that's going to have to carry on in life. You're going to do something. You're going to run a stoplight. You're going to get in trouble. You're going to run the wrong play.
Yeah.
Right? But you can't let what happened on Monday carry into Tuesday, and then what happened on Tuesday go to Wednesday. Yeah. That is one of the biggest mistakes we let happen, right? And so on the field, if the quarterback throws an interception, when the defense is on the field, you better get it out.
Yeah.
Because when we step back on the field, it's over with. And we have a fresh set of downs to go. And so that's one of the biggest things is really the next play. You got to go to the next play with the same intensity that you had before you messed up the last play, right? And then the third thing is, if you're going to make a mistake, make it full speed.
Just go for it.
And in life, that's like, you got to take a risk in life. And if you're going to do it, like, hey, man, Texas A&M, UCLA, LSU, they've all had a quarterback, Johnny Manziel. Bro, if you're going to do it, you better get in the end zone. And that's how life is.
Yeah.
If you're gonna go big, you better go big, and you better go big full speed, and we'll handle the rest later. And that's how life is.
Yeah.
So those are 3 things I think is, 1, attention to detail, knowing what you're doing, knowing your assignment, knowing the game, really getting to knowing what's going on the field. Like just the knowledge. That's 1. You got to know what you're doing. 2, the next play. Once you know what you're doing, you're in a position to make plays. You're going to make some plays. You're going to miss some plays. And then 3 is like, yo, full speed.
Yep.
Make a mistake big, right? Because then you're going to have the room to grow is like humongous in life. If you're going to take a risk, take a risk.
Yeah.
Go for it.
It will work out. It might not work out, but either way, you won't have a regret then.
It's going to kill you. You're going to learn.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, you're going to learn.
Yeah.
You know, when we're talking about a controlled person that's doing something in life, you take a risk, man. Tyler Perry, Denzel Washington, I got his book with me, all of these people. Coach Carter from the Boys and Girls Club when I was a kid. All these people took risk in life.
Yeah.
Everybody I know that have become someone, they took a risk and they took it with everything they had.
Yeah. Sometimes it's, We've talked a lot about a lot of amazing things today. And just to kind of wrap it up, is there anything you want to leave our listeners with? We always ask, is there one last little tidbit or something you didn't get out that you want to leave with them?
Nah, I think you got it, but I will say, believe in yourself.
Yeah.
If anybody that hears this, man, you. And I say that if you love the people around you, the best thing you can do is take care of you so you can take care of them.
It's really important.
So believe in you, take care of you, love on you so that you can love on others, because you can't give from an empty tank.
Really wise.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very wise. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me and having this conversation. I really enjoyed it, and I hope we get to have you back again.
Anytime.
And, it was a lot of fun.
Anytime.
And thanks to our listeners for sticking with us and joining us for another episode. And if there's any topics or things that you'd like to hear about in the future, please just send us an email at huffines@tamu.edu. And stay happy, stay healthy, and we'll see you next time.
Yep. All right.
Thank you.